Miss Goss Graves. I want to play a game. It's called Trump or Trans. You ready?
Okay.
So I'm going to ask you a question, and I want you to tell me whether or not it is Trump or trans people that are responsible. You understand?
Got it.
Okay, very good. The first one, gutted medical research.
Trump.
Kidnapping Americans and sending them to foreign countries, a.k.a. deporting them.
Trump.
Driving us into a recession.
Trump.
Increasing the cost of everything.
Trump.
Waging an idiotic tariff war.
Trump.
Harming farmers.
Trump.
Ignoring the Constitution.
Trump.
Proposing to take away Social Security.
Trump.
Cutting health care.
Trump.
Firing government workers who keep our country safe.
Trump.
Encouraging an environment of hate and divisiveness.
Trump.
Thank you so much.
As Jasmine Crockett points out, it's pretty much a disguise.
Essentially, they closed the Department of Education's Office of Civil Rights. Again, sounds like they are fighting for us. And instead of providing oversight over these actions, congressional Republicans have been working to execute one of the most aggressive anti-women legislative agendas in history. And yet, they're here today trying to convince the American people that discriminating against trans people is somehow the only way to protect women. This hearing has nothing to do with improving government efficiency. It's another attempt by Republicans to distract from their demonic and disastrous policies that are making it more difficult for Americans to make ends meet.
A disguise to distract from the horror that they are inflicting on us.
How do Americans feel about the big, beautiful bill?
Yeah, if we're talking about adjectives, how about they think it's awful, they think it's horrible, and to quote our colleague Charles Barkley, terrible, terrible, terrible. What are we talking about here? Well, let's take a look at the net favorable rating on the big, beautiful bill. I don't just got one poll for you, Omar. I got 5 of them, and the net favorable rating, minus 19 points, Washington Post, minus 20 points, Pew Research Center, Fox, minus 21, Quinnipiac University, minus 26, KFF, minus 29. You don't have to be a mathematical genius to know that when the net favorable rating of your bill is somewhere between minus 19 and minus 29 points, that it is not a positive bill as viewed by the American public. The American public at this particular point hate the big, beautiful bill. As far as they're concerned, it's not a big, beautiful bill. It's a big, bad bill.
Senator Tom Tillis says he'll vote no and retire at the end of his term.
What do I tell 663,000 people in 2 years or 3 years when President Trump breaks his promise by pushing them off of Medicaid because the funding's not there?
Senator Rand Paul says he voted no to a procedural measure because he thinks the bill would add trillions to the deficit.
That doesn't sound at all conservative to me.
So what's actually in it? Start with tax cuts, a huge piece of this plan. As written, the bill would make the president's signature 2017 cuts permanent.
It's been an amazing experience.
The bill would also let people deduct more of their state and local income taxes for the next 5 years, which Republicans from blue states with higher taxes really wanted. And it would fulfill a Trump campaign promise by implementing no tax on tips, overtime, or car loans. On other issues, the bill boosts spending on immigration enforcement with more money for the border wall and for ICE. It beefs up military spending, including money for space programs and moving the historic Space Shuttle Discovery from blue-leaning Virginia to ruby-red Texas.
The shuttle has cleared the tower.
And it calls for funding the so-called Golden Dome, a U.S. air missile defense system. But all those tax cuts and extra spending are expensive. So how's it being paid for?
We're cutting $1.7 trillion in this bill, and you're not going to feel any of it.
Critics say that's not even close to being true, considering the cuts the bill calls for to social safety nets that lower-income Americans rely on.
But guys, don't worry. The real focus should be here.
And I'll tell you what, if I were ever, I'd be the greatest women's basketball coach in history. Because I don't like LeBron James. I like Michael Jordan much better. But I'd go up to LeBron James. It doesn't matter. I'd say, LeBron, did you ever have any desire to be a woman? Because what I'd love you to do is star on my team that I'm building up. I will have the greatest team in history. They'll never lose. Nobody will come within 70 points of this team.
This morning, the University of Pennsylvania reversing course, saying it will now ban transgender athletes and strip trans swimmer Lia Thomas of her swimming titles. The school reaching a deal with the Trump administration, saying it will comply with Title IX as interpreted by the Department of Education, and saying it will restore the records and titles of female athletes who lost to Thomas and send apology letters to them.
Lia Thomas pulling away.
Lia Thomas made history in 2022, becoming the first openly transgender athlete to win an NCAA Division I title. The win sparked fierce debate over fairness, including from some of Thomas's own teammates.
I knew there would be scrutiny against me if I competed as a woman. I was prepared for that.
The Trump administration earlier this year suspended $175 million in federal funds from Penn, claiming the University of Pennsylvania repeatedly violated civil rights laws by allowing men to compete in women's sports. Education Secretary Linda McMahon calling Penn's new agreement a major victory for women and girls nationwide. No comment yet from the NCAA or Lia Thomas, but in a 2022 interview, she defended her decision to compete.
Thus, this is the blueprint on two fronts. The first is withholding federal funding to major institutions in order for them to bend the knee to a fascistic administration. The second is, as they have gone over 4 years now, and one CPAC speaker, who has no motion, even said on that stage to eradicate trans people from society. They are using sports as the gateway. That is the first domino to fall, and it is a way to then manufacture consent to limit these people from even existing and breathing the same air as them. That is the end goal of this. On top of that, they released $175 million in frozen federal funds because the University of Pennsylvania would end up appeasing Riley Gaines and Donald Trump. It is really just, it's that simple. In a news release, UPenn Pres J. Larry Jameso would say, Penn has always followed and continues to follow Title IX and the applicable policy of the NCAA regarding trans athletes, which is like what makes this so incredibly foul and wrong. As Ari Drennan posted, whatever you think of Lia Thomas and trans athletes, stripping titles from somebody who competed within the rules that were in place at the time she competed to placate Trump and Gaines is cowardly and pathetic, because yeah, it is. It is. If the rules were in place at the time of competing, and now they're saying, nope, I need to use this instance of what they feel is an injustice, not anything else that is going on in society, in this country. It is this. This is what we need to hone in on. It is pathetic. And it is cowardly. And I do believe that Riley Gaines had a deal struck with the Trump administration, that she would continue fighting in order for them to stick it to Lia Thomas so Riley Gaines could finish 5th. Keith Olbermann would tweet, wanted to congratulate whiny Gaines, it's not that original, on now being able to say she finished tied for 4th, not tied for 5th in the Lia Thomas race. He then inserted her handle in the message. She tied for 5th, so she would still be 5th. Unless, regardless, she lost. She lost. And she made it her duty to go after a marginalized community because she takes pride and pleasure in it. That is what this comes down to. She would reply, thank you. And while you're keeping track, make sure to congratulate Emma Wayant, the right national champ in the 500 freestyle, too. If you're insinuating 5th in the nation is bad, what do you call a man who ranks 462nd nationally in the men's category? Previously, Gaines made the stone-cold assertion that she could beat Keith Olbermann in a race. Oh, my. What tough. Real tough. As he would illustrate, he is off injured, and he is elderly. He is 66 years old. Regardless, under this new agreement, Penn agreed to restore all individual Division I records and titles to female athletes who lost to Lia Thomas, and they would send a personalized apology letter to each of those swimmers. Guys. Oh my God. I'm watching this, right? And I'm looking at this, and all I'm saying is we have nothing better to do with our time than go after trans people. Climate change is going to wreck us. Billionaires are hoarding the wealth. Grocery prices are going up. No one can afford a car. Can't afford a house. Many are living with family in order to cut costs. Roads are broken. Schools are shot up. Synagogues are shot up. Churches are shot up. Parades are shot up. Nightclubs are shot up. Festivals are shot up. But this is what we must do. On the priority list, this is probably in the thousands, if not late 800s. But this is what serves as a must-do for this administration. From the Associated Press. By Tuesday afternoon, the Penn website showed other athletes holding the school's top times in Thomas's events. The site was annotated with a note that read, competing under eligibility rules in effect at the time. Leah Thomas set program records in the 100, 200, and 500 freestyle during the 21-22 season. Furthermore, as part of the settlement, the university must also announce that it will not allow males to compete in female athletic programs, and it must adopt biology-based definitions of male and female, the department said. That is... There are many studies and doctors that have come out that have dedicated their lives to this, that show how limited of a mindset this is, but it is not surprising considering that is their exact voter base. You should go subscribe to my new show, The Rick Strom Show. I'm going to be interviewing people from sports, music, journalists, authors, sports doctors. It's going to be fantastic. Please go subscribe. Thank you.